it can be hard being a working mom, but being a working mom and away is pretty tough. But I came home and I asked my son Stamos, so what's going on? You're back at school. What was yesterday like? And normally I'll get something like, oh, I don't remember. And just give me something, a little tidbit. And he said, well, actually, we're writing about people who inspire us. My new teacher asked me to write about someone who inspires me, and I chose you, Mommy. I know. I was carrying so much guilt about being away, and then I thought, it's okay. This is good stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit about stress and anxiety and the impact that it's having on our children and on us. And I think it's a really important topic to discuss. It's something that we can all relate to. And I've had the privilege for the last 20 years to work as a child and family therapist, where hour after hour I've heard the fears and the thoughts and private inner worlds of those that are just so brave to be that vulnerable with me. And it's really through their stories and through their sharing that I have this amazing inscape into the deepest desires and worries and frustrations and, yes, guilt that we parents carry. But it's always in my own biggest parenting struggles and most difficult parenting, very less than perfect parenting moments that I learn the most. So whether I'm at home with my 2 boys or I'm in the playroom working with a child who is really working hard to heal their inner wounds, there's a theme that just cries out to me time and time again. And that is, our children are so hurried and so worried, and they're growing up breathing this air of technology, and all of that is having a tremendous impact on their developing brain. And I talk about this a lot now because it's compromising their immune systems, leading to headaches and stomach aches and irritability and even temper tantrums. It's making it harder for our kids to sleep at night. 44% of kids will say that they can't sleep at night because they're just so worried. One of the first questions that I'm asked is, well, are our kids more stressed because we're more stressed? And intuitively, we know that answer. Over the last 5 decades, our stress levels have been skyrocketing, and we're all looking for answers. 80% of kids will say that the thing that stresses them the most is their parents' stress. Okay. So I've been talking a lot across Canada and across the US about the power that parents hold to naturally prevent the burden that stress places on our kids, the power that we have to prevent the impact that it has on their learning, their ability to focus and remember. I've also been talking a lot about how children mirror us. In fact, they're hardwired to do so. So they actually have mirror neurons. Have you ever heard of mirror neurons? And it causes them to match our emotional and psychological states. I've often said to my kids, okay, well, whatever you do, don't match my neurons when I'm kind of losing it. They look at me like, what? What does she mean? Don't match my neurons. So I too search for the emotional presence to be able to find those openings for real change. Because I know that we parents are really the biggest tools that our kids have in order to change this reality. So how do we do this, though? I mean, that's the question that we all want to have answered. And I could hear the panel earlier starting to touch on self-care and the impact of stress and the attempt to find balance. And there's something really powerful in cognitive behavioral science that tells us that we have the incredible power to choose self-supporting thoughts and self-supporting actions that actually strengthen the part of the brain that make us more resilient in the face of stress. That we have the ability to press pause and come back to our moment-to-moment connection and awareness. That we have the ability to let go of old stories about our parenting. That we have the ability to just take a moment and breathe and come back to our deepest parenting intention and highest parenting purpose. And when we do that, something very powerful happens. We become conscious parents. And so there's an exercise that I do with kids in our Chi Kids classes that I would love to do with you today as an act to one another and towards ourselves in being able to let go of some of those negative stories about our parenting and ourselves and our ability to meet our kids' needs. But you'll have to fish out your balloon in order for us to do so. And once you have that balloon in hand, it might be attached. I'm sorry, it makes it a little bit harder. Go ahead and hold it up. So once you've got that balloon, just hold it up so that I know that you're ready to go. Right on. Okay, everybody's doing good. And if you're willing, go ahead and turn inward by closing your eyes. Take a deep breath. It might be the first deep breath that you took today. I know it is for me. Coming back to your center. You might even imagine yourself as light from the very center of your head. And now be aware of a thought that you hold that prevents you from living your highest parenting purpose. It probably starts with I, and it's something that you've been carrying for a long time. Be aware of that statement, and now come back into this room and allow yourself the gesture of letting it go by blowing that thought into the balloon. Here we go. This is the fun part. Go ahead and blow that thought into the balloon, leaving your mind. That's it. When you're ready, go ahead and hold up that balloon. On the count of 3, you're going to let the balloon go, and you're going to let the thought go right along with it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let it go. Nice. Exhilarating. Okay, go ahead and turn inward again, closing your eyes, and becoming aware of a more self-supporting thought to carry with you instead. It's probably the opposite thought that you just were able to release. And bring that into your being, breathe it in. You might imagine it like a color, and breathe that color in, allowing it to fill up your body. From the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. And when you're ready, go ahead and come back into this room. Allowing yourself to carry that with you. I mean, it's such a simple thing that on a moment-to-moment basis, we can change our mind. That our thoughts affect our emotional reality. That our actions affect our emotional reality and our ability to just be available to ourselves and to be available on a moment-to-moment conscious basis with our kids. So thank you for having me.